We've reached the final round of the Calder Cup playoffs, and it has taken us to the first championship series between Chicago and Toronto professional hockey clubs since the 1962 Stanley Cup final, which was won in 6 games by the Toronto Maple Leafs over the Chicago Blackhawks. Now in 2026, the beginning to this matchup takes place in Rosemont, Illinois, where the Chicago Wolves and the Toronto Marlies meet in Game 1 of a best-of-7 2026 Calder Cup Final. Hello, one and all, and welcome into the broadcast. My name is Jaric Rubel. So excited to have you with me for the first ever AHL broadcast here on the Ultimate Sports Media YouTube page. Very much looking forward to this, as there's a first time for everything. And what better time than now in the Calder Cup Final? So for the Chicago Wolves, the journey to this stage has been anything but smooth for them. The Wolves entered the season expecting stability in goal, only to see those plans unravel before opening night when Cayden Primeau was claimed off waivers by the Toronto Maple Leafs and Marlies organization, before then being claimed back by the Wolves and Hurricanes on November 8th. And there was a coaching change less than a third of the way through the year, as injuries, roster movement, and adversity seemed to follow them every step of the way, yet somehow every challenge only seemed to strengthen this group of Wolves. And behind head coach Spiros Anatas, the Wolves studied themselves, and they climbed their way to second place in the Central Division, and then embarked on a playoff run through some of the American Hockey League's toughest competition. They survived a winner-take-all Game 5 against the Texas Stars. They knocked off a Grand Rapids team that finished 20 points ahead of them in the standings, and they battled through a heavyweight conference final against the Colorado Eagles. And when their season hung by a thread, facing elimination in that Western Conference final, backup goaltender Amir Miftakov stepped into the spotlight and delivered 2 remarkable performances, stopping 75 shots across Game 6 and 7 to send the Chicago Wolves to the finals after Cayden Primeau got injured in the 5th game of the Western Conference Final. The Wolves arrived with a roster filled with Carolina Hurricanes prospects, as Bradley Nadeau, Ryan Suzuki, Justin Robidas, Noah Philp, and Ivan Ryabkin have all played major roles in this postseason run, while veteran defenseman Juuso Valimaki, who was acquired in January, has helped anchor this blue line. And with Carolina leading the Stanley Cup Final at the NHL level, the Hurricanes organization suddenly finds itself chasing something incredibly rare, and that's a Stanley Cup and a Calder Cup championship in the same season. Standing in their way, though, in the AHL, a Toronto Marlies team that has embraced the role of playoff spoiler. This is a group that stumbled late in the regular season and entered the playoffs with plenty of doubters. But since then, they've eliminated Rochester, Laval, Cleveland, and Wilkes-Barre Scranton, surviving multiple winner-take-all moments along the way. Their playoff run has featured outstanding goaltending from Artur Akhtiamov, timely scoring from veterans like Vinny Lettieri and Logan Shaw, and the emergence of one of Toronto's brightest young stars, as Easton Cowan has continued his rise towards NHL spotlight, delivering clutch goals and big moments throughout this postseason journey. Now, after 4 grueling rounds, 2 proud franchises remain: the Toronto Marlies, the Chicago Wolves. One team won the East, the other won the West, and 4 wins now separate one of them from lifting the Calder Cup. And it all begins tonight from the Allstate Arena in Rosemont, Illinois. Welcome to Game 1 of the 2026 Calder Cup Final. We dropped the puck on this series on the flip side, as you're listening to the 2026 Calder Cup Final with Jaric Rubel live on the Ultimate Sports Media YouTube page. Welcome back into the Allstate Arena in Rosemont, Illinois, where we're set to begin the Calder Cup Finals. It's game one between the Toronto Marlies and the Chicago Wolves. My name is Jaric Rubel. So glad to have you with me here live on the Ultimate Sports Media YouTube page as we take a look at tonight's starting goaltending matchup. In goal for the Chicago Wolves, it's Amir Miftakov, who had to come in to relieve the injured Caden Primo in Game 5 of the Western Conference Final. Through that relief in Game 6 and 7, he has a 2.36 goals against average and a 940 save percentage, as he has been splendid in goal, allowing just 5 goals on 84 shots. He'll be opposed by Artur Akhtiamov, 11-6 this postseason, a 2.12 goals against average and 1 shutout on this postseason campaign. His save percentage is a 927. The Toronto Marlies in their Toronto Maple Leaf-like road uniforms with the blue maple leaf on the crest on front with the crown on top of that. The white jerseys and white helmets with the blue stripes on the side, as the numbers on the back are blue outlined in white. Their pants blue as well. And the Chicago Wolves in their maroon home uniforms with the yellow lettering and numerals outlined in white. They have their black buckets on along with black pants as we get ready to start game number one here from the old Rosemont Horizon. So the Wolves will be attacking right to left in period number one. The Marlies will be going left to right, as we're in a smoky Allstate Arena here after the pregame presentation. The Chicago Wolves, one of the more explosive pregame entrances in all of professional sports, as the puck is dropped, as the faceoff is won by Luke Hames and the Toronto Marlies, as the 2026 Calder Cup Final has begun. The Wolves with the takeaway, though, at center, as Bradley Nadeau put one right on net that Akhtiamov had to stick to the near side, squirted back to center, but reset by the Marlies, where Benning will go across to Henry Thrun. Thrun goes up the far wing. It gets deflected into the Marlies zone. No, it doesn't, says the linesman, so we get our first whistle of the game, and it ends up being an icing 20 seconds in. Let's take a look at how the Wolves align here in game number one. Is on the top line, it's Ryan Suzuki with Robida and Bradley Nadeau. Second line, Filth between Neuchev and Ryabkin. Third line, Brindamore between Gunler and Slavin. Pavlichev between Vierling and Turcotte. Turcotte's first game of these playoffs. Face off to the left of Akhtiamov, pulled back by Hames and the Marlies after that icing, as it's flipped back out to center into the Wolves zone and played on the near side by Valimaki, thrown back in front of his own net. We're out now to be taken by Fensor, as now the Wolves defensive pairings here. Valimaki with Fensor, Seeley with Lego, and Newstrom with Cal Foot. So both teams getting their first change of this Calder Cup Final. Is down to our left behind the Marley net. Henry Thrun starts up ahead, fanned on a pass, now made one on the near wing that was miserable and came right on the near side. It's spun in front by Gunler, but couldn't connect with the man in front. Squirted back to the left point. Now here's Ronan Seeley playing one off the end boards. It ricochets to the far corner on the right wing. Spun in front. The Wolves with a chance, and a shot shut down there by Akhtiamov. Phil had it right in front. Now a turnaround shot by Brindamore off a giveaway that Akhtiamov had to play to the far wall as well with his left pad. Now the Marlies out to center as Shaw put it on the far wall for Lettieri. Back in front for Shaw. Shot save. Rebound, and a good stop there by Miftakov as a bang-bang play in front by the Marlies top line was denied. And the Wolves clear it back to center. Lettieri at the logo will play it back into the far corner down to our left. It'll be grabbed down in the corner by the Marlies, but poked off their blade out to center, as now the Wolves, Neuchev will play it over the blue line. Back on it, though, for Toronto is Rifai, as it's played back out near the blue line. The Wolves will keep it in, though, and a bouncing puck can't quite stay in the zone by Cal Foot, and it deflects out of play into the Marlies bench with 18:16 to go in this first period. With that, let's take a look at these Marlies lines now to begin game one of the Calder Cup Final. Top line, as always, of Logan Shaw, Vinny Lettieri, and Bo Grew. Then the second line, Hames with Cowan and Torberg. Then the third line, Pare with Vallis and Alex Nylander. Alex Nylander played with the Chicago Blackhawks and Rockford Ice Hogs when he was with that organization. And the fourth line of John Stone with Pizzetta and Sim. D pairings are Thrun with Benning, Murmis with Villeneuve, and then Rifai with Danford. So a face-off here to the left of Akhtiamov, as it'll be won back now by the Marlies, and behind their net it'll be put up the near wing for Alex Nylander to drop off now, and a snap pass up ahead by Villanueva will be tipped into the Wolves zone. In the right wing corner, it's grabbed by Cal Foote. Got hit there by Marley, and now it's lodged back to the right wing side where Foote will have to take it behind his own net. He'll go up the far side with it, deflects off a skate towards Akhtiamov, no icing as he quickly sticks it up the near side, but a glove by the Wolves will keep it in play. But a hand pass is going to be whistled as Philp didn't touch it first, and it ended up being Ryabkin going in. So another whistle with 2:09 played in this first period. So if you're just now joining the broadcast, it's the first ever AHL stream here on the Ultimate Sports Media YouTube channel, and you might be familiar with Matthew Owens calling the hockey, as he's been around quite a bit since this channel's hit 1,000 subscribers. Thank you for that, by the way, 1,000 subs here on the Ultimate Sports Media YouTube channel. But if you're new and haven't seen me, my name is Jaric Rubel. I typically call a bunch of the hockey games with Matthew here on USM, and now it's my first crack at the AHL, as I'm from the Chicago area and the Wolves are in the final. I got the game on local TV, so why not give it a go? So we're back underway here with the puck behind the Marley goal down to our left, as Benning will put it up the near side, and it'll be played to center now, where the Wolves will take back over. Seeley can't find it at his own blue line. It's taken back by the Marlies, and a shot from the left wing will be shut down there by Miftakov, as that shot there came off the stick of looked to be Michael Pezzetta, number 61 there in white, a former Montreal Canadian, as it looks like he might be getting tagged for a penalty now here as well, as he's being talked to by the official, and he's arguing as well. And we'll see what exactly the call's going to be here, as it would have been an after the whistle call after that save was made by Miftakov hugging the far post. So we'll see if we get word on anything here, as it doesn't look like anybody's in the penalty box. But we get a look at Yannick Turcotte playing his first game since March 28th for the Wolves at Grand Rapids, as he's yet to make an appearance this postseason, obviously by that mark, and he's in his first appearance here tonight, playing on line number 4. Face off here to the right of Miftakov, no penalty, as in the Wolves defensive zone, Chicago's able to win it, and up the left wing, Valimaki found Nadeau, bouncing puck over the line, settled down by Robidas, but he's offside, says the linesman. So we get another whistle here with 17:20 to go in this opening period. Shots on goal already 4-3 in favor of the Wolves, as we've had 7 shots total already within the first 3 minutes of this one, as that's not something you see all too often, as these two teams had a lot of time off after playing a lot of games in a condensed schedule. The Wolves basically played 5 games in 7 days to round out that Western Conference final, and the Marlies had about a week off after their victory against Wilkes-Barre, and the Wolves had just about under a week themselves since beating the Eagles. They win a neutral zone draw, but Nadeau dumped it in shy of the red line, so just like that, we're going to get another whistle. So even though we have 7 shots, it also seems like we've had about 7 whistles here early in this opening period. But game 1 here between these two teams have made improbable runs to get to this spot, as the Wolves finished 11th in the AHL's overall standings in the regular season. They were 2nd in their division, and the Marlies came in 15th overall in the AHL standings, 4th in their division, and the Marlies had to win 3 winner-take-all games to get to the conference finals, where then they beat Wilkes-Barre in 6 games, and then the Wolves had to win a winner-take-all game after earning a first-round bye. Texas took them to 5 games, and then they took down the top-seeded Griffins, and then beat the Colorado Eagles in the West Final. Face off to the left of Miftakov in the Wolves zone, won by Chicago, and thrown into the Marley zone. It won't be icing this time, as Villanueva will have to play it. Up the near wing, it'll be tipped into the zone by Dakota Mermis. Grew up in Alton, Illinois, here just south of Chicago. As a puck now comes back through neutral ice, the Marlies have to play it back in their side, down on the left side again in their defensive zone. Is on the far wall, Villanueva's trying to get it out, but the Wolves will keep it in. On the far side, bouncing puck near Slavin will be played to the far wall. Back in the slot, Slavin has it. He'll try a shot that got blocked to the near left side. The Marlies are on it as Bo Grew tries to play it around his net. It rolls to the far corner where Lettieri digs at it. Dropped off in behind now, where Dakota Mermis, wearing an A on his sweater, turned it back over to Slavin on the far wall. Slavin tried to drop it off to Gunler on the far side. He's tied up with Grew, as Grew put it back behind the Marlies goal line, but Slavin there to cut it off. Puck popped now to Brindamore. Brindamore on the far wall, looking to play it to the net. It rolls near the blue paint, came up the near side. Stash back to the blue line. A shot there, gloved by Aktiamov, and a penalty coming up as well for a high stick. As the first power play of the game is going to go to the Wolves as Josiah Slavin was hit up high, and now a skirmish is going to break out here as Slavin and the rest of the Wolves are starting to retaliate against this top line of the Marlies. So Slavin here, the captain of this Chicago Wolves team, has his helmet off, and Gunler now being directed away by the linesman, as we'll see if any more penalties are going to be issued out. It was a high stick going against Bo Grew for the Marlies, but it looks like Gunler's going to go as well for a rough. So it looks like we're going to go 4 skaters aside here in period 1 instead of a power play for Chicago. So it'll be Gunler who sits for the Wolves. It'll be Grew who sits for the Marlies. And the first special teams action of tonight's game will be 4-on-4 here in period number 1. So head coach now of the Chicago Wolves, Spiros Anastas, talking over with his crew on the bench what he wants to do for the 4-on-4 action. As I see people out here near my window starting to work on potentially the roof, so hopefully no noise starts breaking through the broadcast, as now I'm starting to hear some scraping going on. But we'll see how this 4-on-4 plays out here in period number 1, as it doesn't look like the telecast is going to break, though I believe they're scraping the ice. But that gives me time to tell you that in Game 7 for the Chicago Wolves in that game against the Eagles, it was Ryan Suzuki who scored the game-winning goal, 3:46 into the third period. That sent the Wolves back here to the Calder Cup Finals, second time since being affiliated with the Hurricanes they've been here, as they were here in 2022 as well. As now it looks like they've given the Wolves a power play, so it is going to be just Grew who sits for the Marlies, as now the Wolves power play is going to begin, as they're going to get an opportunity here early in the first period with 4.5 gone by. Puck down to our left in behind the Marlies goal. A puck comes free and it's shot right off the right pad of Aktiamov, as now to the far wall it rolls. Philp will play it down beneath the Marley goal line. Nadeau tried to get after it, but Thrun cut him off, and it slapped around the far side and out to center, as the Wolves now have to reset with 40 seconds gone by on their man advantage. Power play this postseason, 23.5%. 7 of the 14 first period playoff goals for the Wolves have been on the power play. And the Marlies PK this postseason, they have a percentage of 82.3%. Their last 10 games, they've killed off 28 of the 34 penalties they've taken. And now here's a stretch pass up ahead. The Marlies are going to get a breakaway. Villanova right in, and a shot there shut down by Miftakov, as a shorthanded bid here for the Marlies early was right in, but the pass was too in front of him, and that allowed him to get in too deep and Miftakov to make an easy save. Down behind the Wolves goal with 40 seconds to go on their power play. It'll be carried back to center, and at the logo, grabbed by Fensor. Fensor on the left side for Nadeau. He got cut off by the Marlies, and now back to center they go. Here they come over the Wolves line, cutting to the far circle. A drop pass for Johnstone, never found it, but the Wolves taking it up the left side. It's Veerling over the Marlies line. Button hooks along the left wing board, skates his way near the slot. Left it up straight away for Seeley. 15 seconds to go on the power plays at the left circle. Fensoria's shot, and that's gloved through a screen by Aktiamov. As on top of the blue paint there was Brindamore looking to create some havoc. So a face-off coming up to the right now of Artur Aktiamov, the Marlies goaltender here, 4th round pick of the Maple Leafs in the 2020 draft. So he played 3 NHL games with the Leafs this season. Wasn't exactly the best go-around for him, but he has seen some time in the NHL. It's his second season overall here with the Marlies, as well as a faceoff here's in the near faceoff circle to his right, as Shaw will take it against Brindamore. Brindamore able to pull it back for the Wolves, but it's pulled now on the near wing and taken by Shaw, as now out the center come the Marlies shorthanded. On the left wing, it'll be tipped in by Pare behind the Wolf net. He just ran over Valimaki to get to that puck, but the Wolves end up with it as penalty time's now up. Bo Grew's out of the box. Back to even strength we go. Fensori up the left wing with it for the Wolves. Had it tipped into the Marlies zone. Behind the net, it'll be picked up by Raife. Raife up the near wing. It'll be now shot up by Danford. First round pick in 2024 for the Maple Leafs, playing here with the Marlies in his first season in the AHL after being brought over from the Brantford Bulldogs in the AHL once their season ended. As now the Wolves in their own end trying to reset, but a turnover here sends the Marlies back in, and here's a shot dropped to the slot for Nylander, and a glove save made by Miftakov. Rebound to the near boards, came up to Brantford. Across it goes, and a shot again by Nylander, shut down by Miftakov, moving to his right as he made a great stop there on that one-timer by Nylander from the far circle. And now after the whistle, Johnstone going at it here In behind with Ryabkin is now John Stone, the fourth line center, donning the A for the Marlies, giving a little bit of his peace of mind to Ryabkin. As we'll step aside here for the first time tonight, as we're scoreless through the first 6 minutes and 45 seconds in Game 1 of the Calder Cup Final between the Toronto Marlies and the Chicago Wolves. It's right here on USM. Jaric Rubel back with you here live on the Ultimate Sports Media YouTube channel. Scoreless hockey through the first 6 minutes and 42 seconds between the Toronto Marlies and Chicago Wolves here in the Calder Cup Final, live from the Allstate Arena here in Rosemont, Illinois, where Amir Miftakov just made a splendid save, moving to his right on the Marlies, as he's the fifth goalie in Wolves history to win a Game 7, the second ever to do it on the road. As with 13:18 to go in the first period, a faceoff down to our right at the far circle in the Wolves D zone is pulled back by Chicago, as Suzuki, brother of Nick Suzuki, Ryan, was able to win it, and through center on the left wing, it'll be Bradley Nadeau flipping it to Suzuki on the right wing, put behind the Marley net and back up the far wall it'll go. It won't get out as Nadeau will keep it straight away, flinging it back to the far right wing corner. Through and put it back up the wall. Cowan tipped it up to the blue line at center for the Marlies to take it, and now on the far wall it'll be thrown in by Torberg. Behind the goal, Hames is after it in the Wolves end, thrown back to the right point, grabbed by Benning, put back along the right circle for Torberg. Lost it, now Suzuki's going to take it, but a penalty's coming up as a slash is going to be called here against the Wolves, and it's going to send the Marlies now to the first power play of their night. So we'll see exactly who the guilty party is here for Chicago, but they will have to face a penalty kill, as this postseason, their PK's 80%. It hasn't been great, as Bradley Nadeau's going to take a seat now for the Wolves, and the Marlies power play will go to work, as overall this postseason, they're 23.2%, they're 16 for 69. Their last 5 games, they are 4 for 13. With the man advantage on the road this postseason, they have 7 power play goals on 33 opportunities. So a face-off here down to our right in the Wolves defensive zone as this power play set to begin for the Marlies, as we're still looking for the game's first goal, and the Marlies could get it here as the Wolves in the first period this postseason have only led after the first 3 times in the 16 games they've played thus far. They win a D-zone draw here, though, to the left of Miftakov, and they're able to get a clear. Overall, their ranks in the postseason in this AHL rank, the power play for the Marlies is 5th in the AHL. The PK for the Wolves is 14th. Lettieri back in on the far wall. A pass is picked off by Slavin. He's out shorthanded on the right wing. Over the Marley line. Stays on side. Makes a move past Shaw. Put it down low, but it's picked off now by Villeneuve as he takes it and puts it on Lettieri's blade. Up straight into the Wolves zone. It's Shaw to the far left circle. Cohen down low. Shaw. Stuff it tapped and a save made. Miftakov back to the right circle. Here's Shaw on his own rebound. Put it across to the far side for Cowan. Cowan to the point for Villeneuve. 75 seconds left on the power play as Cohen drops to Villeneuve straight away. To the far circle. It sends onto the east side for Cohen, as now Easton Cohen on that right side. Put it back at the right circle. It's knocked by Letary to Shaw at the left boards. Shaw now to the point for Villeneuve, back on the right side. Letary had it poked away. Now here's a chance shorthanded for the Wolves. Brindamore breaking in on the loose puck from the blue line into the backhand, and a save made by Miftakov covering the 5-hole, or Akhtiamov, I should say. My apologies, as that's a big stop there for the Marlies, as these goaltenders have been trading great stops at each end. Artur Akhtiamov for the Marlies and Amir Miftakov for the Wolves, as Skylar Brindamore here, shorthanded, was racing right in, and he got in from the Marlies blue line and dashed to his backhand and could not finish on that shorthanded breakaway. Face off, though, to the left here of Akhtiamov, as the Wolves are going to win it, as Fensor will play it towards the net, went to the left wing corner, where now Pavlichev tries to kill a little bit of clock, but the puck comes free now to Torberg, and the Marlies will reset with 40 seconds left to go on their power play. So now a pass up ahead to center. It'll be dropped off at the Marlies blue line and taken by Torberg as he glides to the right side of the Wolves zone. It's picked off, though, again by Chicago and thrown back to center. 11:10 to go in the first period. 25 seconds left to go on the Marley power play. Jaric Rubel with you on the Ultimate Sports Media YouTube channel, live from the Allstate Arena in Rosemont, Illinois. Now the Marlies will play it back into the right wing corner of the Wolves zone as Pare tries to get it to the blue line, but it's taken away yet again by Chicago, as they'll send it down the ice and kill off the rest of this power play for the Marlies, as we're now back to full and equal strength with 10:43 to go in the first period. So the Marlies on the left wing, back through center, through at the Marlies line, had a pass for a Marley that got stood up there nicely by Legault, as the puck meanwhile is back behind the Wolf net, thrown in front, and a pass there intended for Sim never made it. To the right point, here's Benning. Johnstone now will play it from the right circle beneath the Wolf goal line in the trapezoid. Seeley taking the body to Sim, puck free to Johnstone, far wall. Up to the blue line now. It'll be walked by Thrun on his backhand to the near side. It's poked away, but not out of the zone, as the Wolves have to scurry back. As on the near side, Nadeau, fresh out of the box, is behind his own net and put it up the far wall for Charles Alexis Legault. Pass intended for Robidas on the far side, didn't connect, but it wasn't going to go for icing, so Akhtiamov out of his net to play it, put it on the far wall. Marlies turn it over at their own blue line. Now in with a shot from the far circle was Robidas. That got off the back glass side, as now on the near side near the blue line, keeping a puck in for the Wolves is Legault. Back at the blue line, he looks, put a shot towards the net, it deflects off a stick and goes out of play in behind the Marley net with 9:41 to go in this opening period. We'll step aside yet again, still scoreless from a Rosemont between the Toronto Marlies and Chicago Wolves. Welcome back into the Calder Cup Final on the Ultimate Sports Media YouTube channel. Jaric Rubel with you. Glad you're with me here on a Friday night. We got the World Cup coming up as well in under a half an hour, as Matthew Owens will have the call for the United States versus Paraguay, as that will get underway here very shortly. And tomorrow we got a quadruple header of World Cup games: Australia versus Turkey, Qatar versus Switzerland, Brazil versus Morocco, and Haiti versus Scotland. That all gets underway at 3 Eastern, 6 Eastern, 9 Eastern, as I think it doesn't look like Australia versus Turkey's on the channel, as it looks like that gray is there for a reason. So we'll go with the 3 games: Qatar, Switzerland, Brazil, Morocco, and Haiti versus Scotland. So 9:41 to go in this hockey game from Chicago. Down to the right of Akhtiamov in the near circle to our left. The Wolves win an O-zone draw, and to the back they go. Here's Nystrom from the far circle trying a shot that got blocked off a skate in behind. Laterio played up the far wall to Bo Grew. Grew played in the direction of Logan Shaw, misses him with the pass. This will result in an icing as we get another whistle here at 9:28 to go in the first period. Both these teams even with 7 shots on net. None of them have gone in yet, as both Miftakov and Akhtiamov have been great in net for their respective clubs. As we mentioned, Miftakov started game 6 and 7 of the conference final in place of the injured Caden Primo and stopped 75 of 80 shots, as a faceoff at the other end of the rink to the right of Akhtiamov is won by the Marlies in their D zone, and they're out in front of the penalty boxes where Villanova will have a massive slapper go into the Wolves zone. Behind the net, Letary for Toronto. Played it in the right wing corner. Slavin got it for the Wolves, rugging it around the goal. On the far side, it's Noel Gunler. Played it now at the red line, taken by Slavin, fallen to one knee, kept it over the Marley blue line, trickles into the left wing corner now where Murmas tries to take it away. Squirts near him, but came to the far corner where Gunler will play it back to the left side for Slavin. Slavin let it go for Cal Foot, left circle, try to shot, save Akhtiamov from a short side angle, as he'll hold for a whistle with 8:54 to go in period 1. Now a little bit of a crowd gathering again after the fact as 4 Marlies come swarm around Cal Foot. As Cal Foot here, first year as a Chicago Wolf, he was drafted 14th overall by the Tampa Bay Lightning in the 2017 draft. As that draft was held here in Chicago, is at the United Center, home of the Blackhawks. He's played 145 career NHL games. So far in these playoffs for the Wolves, Cal Foot has 9 points in the 16 games played. Probably have heard of him. He's the son of Adam Foote, who was just recently the Vancouver Canucks head coach. Longtime member of the Colorado Avalanche back in the day, defenseman for the Avs. As a faceoff here to the right of Akhtiamov's going to be won by the Marlies. As that faceoff's pulled back by Johnstone, and now out the center they come. On the right wing side, a pass intended for Hames got cut off, and now Nadeau's up on the left side, or Robidas, I should say. Over the Marley line to the left circle, dropped it in the slot. Here's a shot, save, rebound, Nadeau scores! Bradley Nadeau opens the scoring in the Calder Cup Final, and the Wolves lead it 1-0. So Bradley Nadeau with his 6th goal of the playoffs. It's his 15th point in 17 postseason games. As the 30th overall pick in 2023 by the Hurricanes. Has the Wolves off and running in game 1. As this shot came from Ronan Seeley in the slot. It came right off the right pad of Akhtiamov. And there to clean up the loose change was Bradley Nadeau. And Chicago has a 1-0 lead here in game 1. So goals in back-to-back games for Bradley Nadeau, as he had a goal in Game 7 as well against the Colorado Eagles. As the Wolves lead it 1-0 here on home ice as we resume play with under 8.5 to go in the first. The Marlies control down to our right in the Wolves zone, as it'll be played by Benning to the right wing corner. Legault shoving it up the boards for the Wolves, couldn't get it out. As back behind the net, Noah Philp will take a look. Had a goal and assist in Game 7 as well, did Noah Philp, as he couldn't play it up the near boards. Now Ronan Seeley having trouble with it, but it squirts back free to Philp up the left wing. Got it over the red line for Neuchev. Couldn't quite touch it into the Marley zone, but no icing as it's played by Benning around for Thrun. Thrun up the far wall, had a touch pass, not get out the center, but Benning now will get it there, as it'll be sent on the right side and deep by Toronto as they make a line change. 7:47 to go in the first period as the Wolves with the last 3 shots on goal lead the shot count 10-7. One of those went in, courtesy Bradley Nadeau, and it's 1-0 Chicago here in game 1, period 1. Back in they come on the far wall. Pavlichev cutting behind the Toronto goal on his backhand left circle now. Back to his forehand, he'll throw it down low, but it rides a stick out of play. So we get another whistle here with 7:28 to go in the game's opening period. So Bradley Nadeau now up to 15 points on the playoff run for the Wolves. That leads the Chicago Wolves team. As now Nadeau here, who in the regular season had himself a pretty good run as well, as he had 56 points in 59 regular season games, proving he's right around a point per game player here at this level, and we'll see if the Hurricanes promote him to the big squad perhaps as soon as next season, as a faceoff here to the right of Akhtiamov was won so clean by the Wolves it went right out of play, and it went to a lucky fan wearing a Pavlichev jersey there on the near side right at the bottom of my television screen, so congrats to that fan on the souvenir. As now we get set to resume play with Turcotte set to take this face-off against Johnstone. So it's fourth line against fourth line right now. Face off here to the right of Akhtiamov in the near circle to our left, won by the Marlies as Johnstone pulls it back, and it's flipped out between the benches now where Pizzetto will put it into the Wolves zone, but Legault's there to pick it up and park behind his own net and look for a breakout with 7:15 to go here in this opening period. Wolves here up 1-0 on the go by Bradley Nadeau, as now out to center they come. Legault on the far wall. It'll be shot in and around the Marley net. Akhtiamov wants to stop it and does in the trapezoid, but turned it over on the far wall. Wolves trying to get it to the point. It got there and thrown now into the near side by Cal Foote. The Marlies Villanova quickly on it though, played it back to the logo. Johnstone made a touch pass that got turned over. Pavlichev will take it. Now into the zone on the left side, will be blown dead for an offsides, as the Wolves here have been trying to do too much crisscrossing over the blue line, and they've been blown dead for a few offsides whistles here already in period number one. As with these different look lines from the 7-game series against the Colorado Eagles, it might take a little bit for some of these folks to gain chemistry together. In Game 7 against Colorado, it was 11 forwards and 7 defensemen put out there by head coach Spiros Anastas, as it was Pavlichev and Neuchev, the two short fourth-line forwards, and Bedinka was the 7th defenseman. But tonight with Turcotte back in the lineup, we are back to 12 skaters and 6 defensemen. The Marlies win a neutral zone faceoff, but turn it back over at their own blue line, as it'll be chipped back in by the Wolves, and Slavin goes after it behind the Marley net, trying to battle forward as he's now stashed in by Rifey, but it came to the near wall. We're now hustling after it for the Wolves. Will be Gunler trying to play it down low, but Rifey will get it back for the Marlies behind his own net. The defenseman will put it up the far boards, goes in front of the Marley bench where they're changing. Bo Grew had to play it back in his own end, where now it'll be taken by Rifey again. Fourth season with the Marlies. Played it right into neutral ice, and the Wolves took it back as Seeley on the near side got it ahead, and Nadeau will tap it into the left side of the Marlies zone. Thrown right back to center by Rifey. Turned over at the logo once more, as now Valimaki took it away. On the left side, Suzuki over the Marlies line. Has Nadeau breaking to the goal, dropped it in the slot. Valimaki had it hop off his blade. Now he's caught it. Here comes a break for the Marlies. Lettieri from the red line in, over the Wolves blue, right in with a shot, and it was off the arm of Miftakov, and it trickled off the post and back out. Now the Wolves on the far wall over the Marlies line. Nadeau sandwiched into the boards by Benning, couldn't make a pass. Is now around on the near side. Thruns trying to find a lane out for the Marlies as Robidah's all over him. He's able to shake free on the right side. As I still can't get over the fact that Lettieri didn't get that past Miftakov, as that shot went off his left arm and it just bounced on the blue paint and rolled to the post, and it stays 1-0 Wolves. Back it on the left wing over the Marley line. Here's a shot by Nadeau again, blockered away by Akhtiamov. Rebound in behind. Now the Marlies put it up the far wall. It'll get out to center, and over the blue line it'll go into the Wolves zone, where both teams trying to make a change here with 5 minutes to go in the first period. Centering pass here from Pizzetta, couldn't connect on the near wing with Villanova. Is now back on the near side's Neuchev for the Wolves. Gets over the Marley blue line. Tried to drop it on the near wall at the circle for Philp. It got poked away, as now Toronto flips it back the other way. And at the Wolves blue line, a bouncing puck on bad ice will finally be settled down by Chicago with 4:40 to go in the first. Behind their own net to our right, Cal Foote again here, waiting for the Wolves to get new mates out onto the ice, as he'll leave it now for Nystrom. Here's now Nystrom up straight away through center. Be tipped into the Marley zone for Philp to go after in the far right wing corner with 4:20 to go in this first period. He's tied up in that corner by the Marlies. On that far side, Neuchev has to help him out at the right circle. He cuts free to his forehand, tried a shot short side that went in behind the Marley net to the corner. On that left wing corner, Philp tried to dig it out. Came free in the air, went out of play, played with the high stick rather, and we play on as it plopped back in as the Marlies possess. Now here's Danford on the right wing side, the young defenseman out to center for Nylander. 5 goals and no assists in the playoffs for Alex Nylander, but he had the overtime winner to send him to the Calder Cup final against Wilkes-Barre, as now he calls for a pass at center that was behind him, but found Danford, who at the red line will just backhand it into the Wolves zone as the Marlies are changing. Wolves take back over possession as Seeley put it up the left wing. It'll be tipped into the Marlies zone as the quality here on my screen goes to like 244p. And I'm watching on local TV. This ain't even a stream, but it's proven that they're using a stream to broadcast on local TV as it appears to get to better quality now. And a shot here comes near the Marley net that got blocked in front by the Wolves' own man Valimaki. As behind the goal, it's centered around to the far circle, trying to locate for the Wolves and playing it up to the point was Turcotte, but he couldn't quite get it up there. So now the Marlies take back over with 3:10 to go in the first period as the quality on my screen starts to get better. It was so rough, too. The ice started to look yellow on my screen, but it looks more white now as here comes Logan Shaw back in on the right wing over the Wolf line with a shot from the circle, and it's punched away by Miftakov with the blocker. Rebound to the far wall, be cleared out the center. Fensor will take it over the Marley line for the Wolves. Through it far wall with a shot save. Akhtiamov rebound in the slot for Gundler. Couldn't come to him as it rolls back to the red line. Pizzetta will throw it back into the Wolves zone as the Marlies are changing as the Wolves pick it back up behind their own net. Here's Legault. 2:37 to go in the first period as he backhands one all the way down the ice. This should end up being an icing, and it in fact will with just over 2.5 minutes to go here in the opening period. So we haven't really had a whistle here in a moment. Let's see if we could get a look at some of these saves. Here's the first one on the try by the Marlies on the breakaway. Vinny Lettieri from the red line in just had a little snapshot from between the circles go off the arm of Miftakov. Again, it just hit him right on the numbers on his left arm and just kind of slow rolled off the post. Miftakov had no idea where it was either. He almost kicked it with his left skate into the back of his net. Then Akhtiamov as well with traffic in front having to battle some pucks that came his way. Is now following the icing here on the Wolves. A face-off down to our right in the far face-off circle in the Wolves D zone as it's pulled back by Skylar Brindamore. And Cal Foote will play it out in front of the penalty boxes. It's grabbed by the Marlies, though, on the near wing. Danford will put it right back in. Around the Wolf net it went. Cal Foote trying to get there up the far wall to go. He's caught out of position. Is at the left circle. Gru will drop it. Thrown back to the point. Here's a shot by Mervis. They score! Ben Danford strikes for the Marlies as the rookie gets his first career Calder Cup playoff goal, and we're tied at 1. So Ben Danford, the 31st overall pick by the Leafs in the 2024 draft, joined the team after his OHL season ended in Brantford, and he gets a pass from the AHL's leading playoff scorer, Vinny Lettieri, right in the slot, and he let a snapshot go far side, past the blocker side of Miftakov, as Ben Danford's first career playoff goal has the Marlies back even. So tied at 1 here, late in period 1, 2:15 to go in this opening frame. As now the Wolves win the ensuing faceoff thanks to Suzuki. As back at center they come, Legault on the far wall for Suzuki to tip into the Marlies zone. Akhtiamov on it behind his own net, left it for Benning to shoot it off the far glass. As the Marlies get it to center, but the Wolves' Legault sends it right back in. So Akhtiamov once more in the trapezoid, leaving for Benning. Down to our left, he'll play it up the right-handed boards. It'll come out past the penalty boxes, but roll to the Wolf blue line where Seeley will play it back the other way. Marlies trying to reset again here in the final 100 seconds of period 1 after getting the equalizer just a moment ago, courtesy Ben Danford. Now it's chipped back into the near corner by Torberg in the Wolves zone. Played back up to center, though, by Chicago as they're doing a good job of getting these pucks out just as quickly as they come in. As the Marlies here back at center, Nylander can't grab a puck in neutral ice as it's turned back into the Leaf zone for Thrun to try again. Henry Thrun from Anaheim to San Jose to now Toronto. Had a dump in attempt go off a Wolves skate, taken now by Philp as his pass on the near side for Seeley. His stick just failed him as now it's thrown back and now it's taken to center as Cohen couldn't grab that for the Marlies. Back come the Wolves on the left side. Pass in the slot. Trying a shot here was Neuchev and it got blocked into the near corner. As now the Marlies in the final minute put it around their own net, but on the far wall, Legault's on it for the Wolves, or I should say Cal Foote. Foote will leave it in the far right wing corner. Philp trying to drive to the net, cutting in behind, looking to center, came to the left wing circle. Now a shot here by Nystrom, got the glass, rebound to the far right wing corner. On it now is Ryabkin. Ryabkin trying to move to his forehand at the right circle. It's taken away by Nylander, poked out to center. Now the Wolves on it again. Nystrom trying to move it, got caught. Nylander will take it left side. He'll just throw it right on net, where Miftakov will stick it to the left side in the final 25 seconds as the Wolves take back over in their own zone. Up the center, it's thrown. It deflects, does not deflect into the Marlies zone, as it looks like we're going to get an icing whistle here at 16.8 to go here in period number 1. So face-off coming back into the Wolves' defensive zone, as I want to get another look here at the goal by the Marlies a moment ago, but it doesn't look like we're going to get it, as I got good old AHL telecast replay working here, but that's okay. Got to do with what we got, as the Marlies here were able to tie this game at 1, courtesy Ben Danford. Wanted to just get another look at to where exactly this shot beat Miftakov to the blocker side. But instead, I'll watch a face-off to his left in the near corner be won by the Wolves and thrown back out the center, as the Marlies will recollect in the final 10 of the first. That should just about kill the rest of the time away, though, as the Marlies take a look at the clock. Benning doesn't want to move it, and we are, in fact, going to head to intermission, deadlocked at a goal apiece. So it was Bradley Nadeau getting the Wolves on the board in period number 1 with his 6th of the playoffs, and then Ben Danford's first career Calder Cup playoff goal equalized this game just shy of the 2-minute remaining mark in period number 1, as we're all even at 1 after 1 here tonight. So the Wolves and Marlies here in a fun 1 through 20 minutes in game 1 of the Calder Cup final. We'll step aside for the intermission, as you could come back about 5 minutes past the top of the hour for period number 2, as you're listening to the AHL's Calder Cup final on the Ultimate Sports Media YouTube channel with Jaric Rubel. Marlies and Wolves tied at 1 after 1, as goals by Nadeau and Danford have us where we're at. Back soon for period 2 in 15 minutes. Welcome back into the Allstate Arena in Rosemont, Illinois, where the Chicago Wolves and the Toronto Marlies are even at a goal apiece through 20 minutes of play in Game 1 of this Calder Cup Final. My name is Jaric Rubel. I'm so happy to have you with me here on the Ultimate Sports Media YouTube page, the debut of the American Hockey League on this channel. Whether it was on YouTube, whether it was on Mixer, over the past years, we have never broadcasted an American League hockey game on the Ultimate Sports Networks. So 1-1 after 20 minutes here tonight as the goal scorers for each team. Bradley Nadeau, his sixth of the playoffs from Suzuki and Robida. And then Ben Danford's first career Calder Cup playoff goal from Vinny Lettieri and Bo Grew, as that came with 2 minutes and 15 seconds to go in the first period to even the game at 1. Shots were even at 11 apiece through the first 20 minutes. Hits were 6-5 in favor of the Wolves, and they won one more faceoff than the Marlies did as well. 11-10 were the numbers on that one. So we're set to begin the second period. The Wolves attacking left to right in this middle frame. The Marlies going right to left. And again, it is the period of the long change as each team's defensive zone is furthest from their bench. So the top line of Suzuki, Robida, and Nadeau will start the period for the Wolves, and it'll be the line of Hames, Cowan, and Torberg to begin the period here for the Toronto Marlies. So again, live here on the Ultimate Sports Media YouTube page. Thanks to all of you for helping us get to 1,000 subscribers over the past week, as I haven't gotten to talk to you guys since Game 1 of the East Final between Carolina and Montreal in the NHL. So it's been a long time coming. Thank you all for that, as we appreciate it very much here on USM. Period 2's underway as the Marlies control off the faceoff, and in their own zone, they flip it near the Wolf blue line, but it'll get tossed right back, and Toronto will try again. In between the benches, a pass on the left wing will find Hames into the Wolves zone over the line with a shot save. Miftakov rebound on top of the paint. It's free as he dived for it. It's on top of the paint now, and Valimaki clears. Came to the far wall. The Marlies still control in the slot. Cowan tried to send a backhander, but played it to the point for Thrun. Thrun drifting to the left side with a long wrist shot blocked off the end boards. Rebounded a try, went off the side of the net to Miftakov's left. Came around to the near left wing corner. Bouncing puck in that corner. Hames trying to get there, but he's cut off by the Wolves' Seeley as it's put up the near wall. Not out. Thrun kept it again. Left circle. A bouncing puck not able to be grabbed by Torberg as it's now out to center courtesy Ryan Suzuki. As on the right wing, he has Nadeau over the Marlies line. Nadeau straight into the left circle with a shot at the crossbar. Bradley Nadeau ripped one right off the crossbar as he's had 3 great chances in this game. One's gone in, one was stopped, and now this one has gone off the crossbar. Marlies in their own zone work it back up the left side as Logan Shaw put it in behind the Wolf goal line. Rolls around to the far side now where Lettieri shakes off a man and tries to keep possession, but Legault knocked him down and sends it the other way for Chicago. Here's Gunler over the Marlie line with a shot from the right circle, blocked by the Illinoisan Dakota Mermis, and it's thrown back the other way into the Wolves zone. Legault will reset again. Goes across to Ronan Seeley with 100 seconds gone in this second period. He coughed it up on the far wall. Villena wave. Down low, the Marlies center. It came through the blue paint, but taken away now by Chicago. As on the right side, Josiah Slavin got it as far as the red line before Grew took it right back. But he can't do anything with it. Gunler put it back on the right side over the Marlie line. Here's Slavin back at the right circle. Pivots, drops it. Now it's back out the center. On a delayed offsides, the Wolves can't touch it as the Marlies pick it back up with 2 minutes played in this second period. Back through center. A pass will be tipped into the zone. We're in the far corner. Going after it for the Marlies is Pare. Pare now digging at it in that far corner with Ronan Seeley. It comes free. The Wolves will take it. It's flipped up the far wall, but not out. Nylander cut it off. Now the referee stumbles as he stepped on a skate. Meanwhile, the puck's free up through center. A pass for Cal Foot won't connect. This will miss and end up going for icing, as we'll end up getting a stoppage with 2:26 played thus far here in the second period. Good pace to this second frame, as right away Luke Hames with a shot that came right on top of Miftakov, and on the blue paint he had to dive out to clear it, and then Valimaki played it from beneath the goal line right back through the blue paint. And then down at the other end, Bradley Nadeau for the Wolves from the left circle. Shot one right off the crossbar, as we're still tied at 1 after those good chances here early in the second. As down to our left in the near circle to the right of Miftakov, it'll be Pare out here for this face-off for the Marlies against Noah Philp, as Philp wins it cleanly for the Wolves. And on the right side, it's thrown to center by Ryabkin. Now here's Neuver right over the Marley line. Can't touch it as it's a delay, or is played with the high stick, and nobody wants to touch it. So the linesman blows the whistle, and he's going to end up ruling the face-off's going to stay inside the Wolves' defensive zone, or the Marlies' defensive zone down to our right. So another face-off here upcoming in the second period, as when these teams were tied through one period in these Calder Cup playoffs, it's 2-1 the record for the Marlies. The Wolves did not provide that record on the game notes, but they did get the first goal. They have not led after the first period all too often, as this is another game where they have not. It's only happened 3 times in this playoff, and we're tied here through 20 minutes for the Wolves. Face off to the left here of Akhtiamov will be won by the Marlies and now thrown out to center, as the top line will go in after it now in the Wolves zone in the near corner. Trying to poke it back out near the blue line was Nylander, but the Wolves ended up getting it out, as now the Marlies will reset again as back through center. Nylander put one off the stick there of Vallis. Vallis here, the Denver, Colorado native without a cue, had to kick it from behind his own goal line to Nylander, far corner. Up to the point it came, and a shot there right on, stopped by Miftakov on the blast that came from Villeneuve. As now a whistle here comes again, as another skirmish ensues in behind, as Johnstone now is talking things over with Nystrom, as now the referees are having a conversation with Johnstone, and not sure if he's getting sent to the penalty box or not, but the referee here nodding yes, as I do not have word as to who the officials are in this game. I have all the referees and linesmen here next to me, but they don't have the numbers listed as to who these guys are, so I can't identify them by their jersey, but I would imagine the linesmen are Brandon Grillo and Dylan Bluehoose, and then the referees likely to be Bo Halkidis and Grady Hamilton, both of those guys veterans here in the Calder Cup final. But I cannot confirm that. I just have some of these names in front of me. Face-off here, though, down to our left with 3:09 played in the second period. Face-off here will be between Johnstone for the Toronto Marlies, and stepping in here for the Wolves will be what looks to be Nadeau stepping in. And off the face-off, Johnstone won it. To the back it'll go. Left point, Mermis played it back across. Villeneuve gliding with it to the left side. Backhanded one near the slot that went off a skate to the near corner. Down low in that left corner now. Johnstone's trying to move it along for Toronto. Had it cut off by Pavlijev, who bodied a man out of there and played the puck to the far corner. Veerling will nudge it ahead now, and on the far wall, it's out to center. Thanks to Nystrom. Now at the Wolf logo, over the right side into the Marley zone they come. Pivoting at the right wing corner and getting hit there by Pizzetta was a Wolf. Meanwhile, puck back in the slot. Here's Veerling trying to shake free. Falling, drew a penalty as Pizzetta took him down. And the Wolves are going to get a power play here with 3:45 gone in period number 2, as Michael Pizzetta is going to get tagged for the Marlies. And that will send them shorthanded for the second time tonight. So the referee's now making the call at center. It'll be a hook here against Pizzetta, as the Wolves will get their second power play of the night. They were 0 for 1 on their first try. That came in the first few minutes of period number 1. But the Wolves here doing a good job when in the O zone of keeping these pucks in, as the Marlies have had a tough night here so far trying to clear their own zone. As now we'll see how this PK goes to work for the Marlies as they lose the draw. The Wolves control on this power play along the far boards down to our right. Looking over the traffic's Robida. To the right point now, Valimaki. To the right circle, Philp looking. Goes down low with it, now gets a return pass, has to kick to the stick as it was deflected by a Marley. Is now in the right wing corner, here's now Philp, putting it in the slot. Valimaki sends it to Nadeau, left circle, back to Valimaki, straight away with a wrister, and it's blocked in front. Now it's covered by Akhtiamov as it hit a Wolf out in front, and the Marley goaltender was able to cover as the whistle goes, and it was Robida out in front with the deflection as it went off his skate. But the Marlies netminder, Artur Akhtiamov, there with a good stop, as the power play will resume here for the Wolves with an ensuing face-off in the offensive zone. You can find Game 2 of this series as well on this YouTube channel. Sunday, a matinee at 4 Eastern, 3 Central. as I'll have that with you here on USM. Wolves win another face-off on the far boards. Valimaki played it to Nadeau. Minute 30 to go on this power play as Nadeau put it in the slot. Robidas to the right side. Valimaki back to Nadeau. Left circle. Drifting in the slot to the right side. Valimaki one-timer. Got the glass as it ricochets all the way back to center. And now Nadeau will have to get back after it. The Wolves' power play this season against Toronto in the regular season was 2 for 14, as now Robidas gets back to center now over the logo. To the Marlies blue line, played it left side, touched in the slot, Valimaki, backdoor Nadeau, tried a shot that got blocked, now it's loose off the side of the net, Akhtiamov wants to cover, he can't. Puck to the far corner where Johnstone threw it up, came into the Wolves' bench now as it's going to get knocked in there and a whistle will come, as it looks like the faceoff's going to come back out to center as the Wolves don't like it, but I believe it went off of Nadeau into the bench, and that's what the linesmen are ruling. So we'll see if exactly that's what ends up happening or if the faceoff will go back inside the Marlies' defensive zone. But nonetheless, it looks like the top line will get off the ice for the Wolves on the power play here, as they'll now go with the second unit, as now it'll be Veerling out here with Gunler and Skylar Brindamore. The defenseman will be Seeley with Fensore. So 55 seconds left on the power play, as in front of the Wolves bench, a faceoff's won by Brindamore so cleanly it rolls back into the far corner down to our left in the Wolves zone. It'll be picked back up now by Seeley. Here's Ronan Seeley, had a goal in Game 7 against the Eagles, got a pass now at center for Fensore to shoot off the near glass into the Marlies zone. On it those Benning for Toronto, he'll grab it and clear, as an easy clear for the Marlies will have just a half minute remaining on this power play for Chicago. 14:44 to go in the second period, as Seeley played it back to center. It'll be carried by Suzuki into the right side. Gunler will leave it now right side at the circle. Veerling looking at the right dot, played it back up top to Gunler. Under 20 to go now on the power play. As on the far wall, Fensore goes back to Seeley. Back to the left circle, Fensore drifting with it. Back to Seeley, left circle, put it in the slot. Gunler, it bounced off his blade. Under 10 seconds to go on the power plates. It swung back down low. Around the goal, Brindamore will touch it. Fensore will go back around to the near side with it as it comes up to the right point for Gunler. Penalty time now up as the Wolves still possessing the O zone. In the right wing corner, Skylar Veerling tried to leave it for Brindamore at the right circle, but the Marlies will take it away. As up the near side, it'll be cleared now to Cal Foot at the Wolf blue line. He turned it over. Pizzetta left side, put it down low in front. Here's a shot, and it went wide to the blocker side of Miftakov. As on top of the paint there, the Marlies had a good chance with Bo Grew, but came up unsuccessful. Now they dump it back in after touching up in the Wolves zone. Cal Foot in the far corner ran into the official and couldn't get to that puck first. As the Marlies poke it now to the far wall, slid this way to Mermis at the left circle with a wrist shot and a glove save made. Rebound to the slot, cleared back out the center by the Wolves. The Marlies will get back after it with 13 and a half to go in the second period. Mermis played it back up ahead, almost a breakaway for Cowan, but he couldn't field the pass, and it rolled to Miftakov, who put it on the near side for Foot to get to center. Bouncing puck near the Marlies blue line, grabbed back by Hames, and he'll drop it off now for Villanueva. Had it poked off his stick, but now the Wolves can't grab it as it's thrown to the left side over the Chicago line. Hames will ring it around the Wolf goal to the far wall. Cowan got it to the blue line, poked down low now by Danford. Back behind the Wolf goal, it'll be Cal Foot. Put it back up the wall. Danford can't keep it in at the right point. It chips back into the Marlies zone with under 13 minutes to go in this second period. The Wolves here keep a puck in as the Marlies can't clear. A shot by Seeley through a screen and a save by Akhtiamov. Rebound to the left side. Cowan got to center. Played it now at his own blue line where it'll be Refe drifting with it to the left side. He'll shoot it into the Wolves zone. Miftakov will stick it back to the left wing corner, and it'll be picked back up by Chicago as Slavin will backhand one near the Marley blue line where it's jumped and gloved down by Danford to his stick as he now skates behind his own net as he waits for the Marlies to change. He'll snap a pass straight in up ahead that's tipped into the Wolves zone. Now back behind the Wolf net, it's rug around and on the far side taken by Robidas. Here comes Justin Robidas galloping with it over the red line. Put it right side over the blue for Legault at the right circle. Back in front for Robidas. The tip didn't connect. Meanwhile, back on the far wall, it rolled to center. Suzuki has to recoil with it. Put it on the near side for Fensore. Fensore up the near wall with it, deflecting his Robidas in behind the Marley net. Akhtiamov spun a tire and fell over trying to play it. But no harm, no fouls. The Marlies are back the other way. Far right wing into the zone's Nylander. Played it behind the Wolf goal down to our left. Trying to dig it out now for Toronto is Pare, got it on the far wall where Gru tries to move it along. At the right circle, Suzuki poked it up, but it doesn't get out as Nylander kept it. At the far circle, Alex Nylander pivoting to his backhand, trying to stick handle and keep it onside, does. It goes down low, and a spun pass in front couldn't connect with a Marley that was breaking. Puck, meanwhile, came to Bradley Nadeau, as he will take a look and get it to center for Valimaki. He'll be at the red line in front of the penalty boxes and shoot one into the Marley end. Wolves are changing again with under 11.5 to go in the second period. Marlies flip one back ahead as a stretch pass for Pizzetta, never connected. No icing though, as he's two at first. Without a stick now is Miftakov, as his goal sticks on top of the paint. He'll grab it. The Wolves get the puck out to center as the Marlies have to touch back up. So now with 11 minutes to go in the second period, in their own zone, Toronto. On down to our right, it'll be played up by Danford now to Pizzetta. His rink-wide pass was cut off, but came right now to a Sim in the slot who's walking in, and his shot there is going to be soaked up by Miftakov, who wasn't even in the blue paint. He came far out on top of it to challenge that shot, and he was able to gobble it up for a whistle. With 10:57 to go in the second period, still tied at 1 in Rosemont, Illinois, between the Chicago Wolves and Toronto Marlies in Game 1 of the Calder Cup Final. One your score still from the Allstate Arena in Chicago, aka Rosemont, right next to O'Hare Airport, location of this building that's hosting Game 1 of the Calder Cup Final between the Chicago Wolves and Toronto Marlies. My name is Jaric Rubel. Glad you're with me here for the first ever AHL broadcast on the Ultimate Sports Media YouTube page. It's the first time I've ever called an AHL game, as I live in the Chicago area, and I was like, you know what? I get the Wolves games on TV for free. I have the opportunity to call it. So over the last couple days, I tried my best to familiarize myself with both these rosters and learn a little bit about each team. And here we are. We're going to call the Calder Cup Final as long as it goes. The road games are on NHL Network, so I don't have to worry about paying Flow Hockey $40 to broadcast a game. It's all free. I guess I pay for DirecTV, but you guys get the point. It's now under 11 minutes to go here in this second period. Still tied at 1 on the goals by Nadeau for Chicago and Danford for Toronto. Face-off down to our left and to Miftakov's left in the Wolves' defensive zone in the far face-off circle. It'll be Torberg having to step in for Hames for Toronto on this draw. He's tied up with Suzuki, but he wins the draw for the Marlies, and he'll ring it around the goal, but the Wolves quickly on it as Valimaki pitchforked one up the near side, gets out past the penalty boxes. The Marlies repossess here in their defensive zone, as up the far wall, Benning will play it. It's tipped into the Wolves zone, no icing, as Miftakov's out to play it from behind his own net, almost lost an edge while getting back to his paint. But meanwhile, in the far corner, Valimaki stashed it back behind. Played back up the near side by Fensor. Can't get it out yet, but now a second attempt will get past the red line. Marlies collect it back at their own blue. So now circling at the logo for Toronto, it'll be Cowan playing one on the near side for Hames to tip back for Cowan in the corner. Nice pass while falling on his backhand, but it was grabbed by a Wolf instead. Robidoux played it to center. Bouncing puck here can't be settled down by Suzuki. Played it between the benches and put it deep in the Marley zone while the Wolves are changing on the fly. Halfway through this hockey game now, as we approach the final 10 minutes of period number 2. Tied up here at 1. Shots on goal are 15-14. in favor of the Marlies, as the Marlies here with 4 shots in this period, the Wolves with 3, as the Wolves try to get a bouncing puck over the Marley blue line, forced it to the far right wing corner, as now it'll be Villeneuve played it behind for Mermis. Mermis on the near side couldn't get it up the wall. Good forecheck by Brindamore and the Wolves to keep it down low. Puck around the Marley net where Villeneuve on the far corner can't do much with it. Mermis will just play it back up the near side with some force. It might end up in an icing, and that's exactly what happens, as Mermis had to take the chance to get it out, and that's the price he must pay. So again, I mentioned Game 2 of this series will be here on a matinee on this channel, 4 p.m. Eastern on a Sunday. It'll be a busy Sunday here on USM as NASCAR gets the Great American Getaway going from Pocono, as Matthew Owens and company will have that for you at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, 1:30 Central. Then you have this, game number 2 following that. Then Ivory Coast versus Ecuador with Seth Eves in the World Cup. And then Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final. Matthew Owens will have it for you on this channel. I'll have it for you on mine as well if you just look up the name Jaric Rubel, as you can see it right above the Wolves 1 here on the scoreboard. That's my name. Doing it on my YouTube channel as well, as Matthew and I both want the tape, and there's nothing wrong with that, as we're just putting ourselves out there. So to the left of Akhtiamov, a faceoff's won by the Wolves, and now it looks like another stoppage is coming up here. I believe it's for a hand pass, as now it looks like that'll send us to our next commercial break here in period 2. So I'll step aside for the next 90 seconds. Don't go anywhere, as I'll be back in a moment from Rosemont. Welcome back here to Rosemont, where the game's tied at 1 still between the Wolves and Marlies. Game 1, Calder Cup Final. Jaric Rubel here with you live on USM. So I want to give a shout out to a friend of the channel, Alex B. Smith, co-host of the Ice Guys, live 7 days a week during the NHL season, now just during game days during the Stanley Cup playoffs, as he texted me in 4 of the 5 league championship victories for the Wolves. They relied on a backup goaltender during the final series in 98, 2000, 2002, 2022, and now here in 2026. So nice bit of information there from Alex B. Smith. Again, go check him out on the Ice Guys live on YouTube. Just search the Ice Guys. It'll be easy to find, as that's an easy name to remember. So just over 9 minutes remaining here in the second period, as the Wolves just gave up a good chance for the Marlies while describing that, but the shot missed to the near post of Miftakov, and now the Marlies end up resetting here in neutral and messing all of everything up, as now they've iced the puck, as that was a interesting sequence there of a good scoring chance that ricocheted right out of the zone, and the Marlies end up icing it. So there's the next whistle, and now it'll result in an O-zone faceoff upcoming here for the Chicago Wolves. Mentioned in 2022, they were in the final. It was their first title in their partnership with the Hurricanes. Now they're looking for their second, as the Canes also saw their prospects win a title when they were affiliated with the Charlotte Checkers in 2019, and the Checkers made the finals last year, but they're now affiliated with the Florida Panthers. So back-to-back seasons here, where the AHL and NHL Eastern Conference champions were from the same organization. So face off here back in the Marley zone, played around the goal by the Wolves off the win, but it'll get deflected out the center, and Valimaki with a bad turnover at center gets it back on Nylander's blade. So the Marlies able to reset here and change following that icing with 8:38 to go in the second period. Puck back in front of the benches, and it'll be thrown deep by Cowan, who now heads to the bench, and then behind the goal, Miftakov will leave it for Fensor. Fensor up the near wing, it'll be thrown to center by the Wolves, but now cut off nicely by Johnstone, who stashed it back in for the Marlies. Behind the Chicago net, he's after it. Valimaki trying to poke it up the near wall. It comes now to Ryabkin. He's tied up with Sim. Sim knocked it free. Valimaki tries again from behind his own goal line. Around for Fensor. He got hit. He lost the puck. Marley's now back on it. In the far right wing corner, Johnstone poked it free on Sim's blade. To the far point it goes. Here's a quick shot that came in front of the goal, and another try by Johnstone that went over the crossbar. And now the Wolves try to clear. They can't. Mermis to keep at the left point. Good shift here for the Marlies' fourth line, but now Mermis turned it over as it'll be Ryabkin getting it to the red line, but long change here in the second period. The Wolves only get 2 off. Back in come the Marlies on the left side. It's played down low for Pizzetta. He overskated the puck. Valimaki still out there with it. Put it up the near wall, and he will clear as the Marlies overskate it themselves, but the Wolves quickly give it right back to them, and they come right back on the left side to the Marlies. Hames toe dragging left circle, but lost it as now Pavlichev fresh on the ice takes it, and he'll put it on the near wall for Valimaki, who's been out there for well over a minute and a half as he still can't get off the ice. And now it looks like a penalty might be coming up here on Cohen, who got the stick in the midsection of a Wolf, as there's a stoppage here at 7:22 to go in the period. No word, though, if it is a penalty or not, but there was a stick that got into the midsection, and we'll see if there is a call. Another look here at the good try by the Marlies a moment ago. The shot right on, saved by Miftakov, and the rebound by Johnstone just couldn't go, as it looks like no penalties coming up here, so I did not see what the stoppage in play was for, so I apologize for that. But we play on with 7:20 to go in the second. Wolves win a neutral zone draw that Seeley pounds into the Marley zone, and behind the goal, it'll be thrown back up on the far side by Danford. On the far wing now, here's Hames taking it over the Wolves line, bodied into the far boards by Robida. Puck now squirts down to the corner where Legault tries to move it up. Charles Alexis Legault played some NHL games with the Canes this year, as the puck came up, and Thrud tried a shot now for the Marlies. He got blocked by Seeley. Back out the center it goes, and on the near wing, the Marlies try and reset, but the puck just rolls back into Chicago ice, and Seeley will grab it again with under 7 minutes left in period number 2. Only 5 shots in this period for the Marlies, only 3 for the Wolves, as the first period had a lot of action. This one slowed down quite a bit, as the Wolves now put it back in behind the Marley goal. It'll be taken now by Bo Grew, put up the left side for Thrun. Both ex-Anaheim Duck draft picks and prospects as over the Wolf line they go. Drop pass on the left side for Lettieri, didn't connect, as now it's back to center for Wi-Fi to connect or reset. 6:20 to go in this second period. The Wolves trying to change a few bodies quickly. The Marlies will fling it back into the Wolves zone while it happens. As on the left side, Grew gets up a puck and now send it to the left side. Lettieri's one-timer, short side, got the glass. Came around to the far point. Here now is a shot by Danford that got blocked by his own man, Shaw, in front. Ricocheted in behind the goal. Left wing corner, shielding on his backhands, Bo Grew, leaving it in behind. Trying to get there first is Brindamore for the Wolves. He backhanded it up the wall. It doesn't get out yet, as Nadeau can't clear, but now it'll come on the near side, and a stretch pass up ahead finds Gunler. Has a man breaking to the goal. Pass up ahead and a backhand shot. They score! Skylar Brindamore, second goal of the playoffs. He had a breakaway in the first. It was unsuccessful and cashes in now in period 2. So Skylar Brindamore, his second breakaway of the game's a successful one. He went to the backhand the first try and was denied. Went right back to it this time and beat Aktiam off to the left pad and left-handed glove side. As great patience by Noel Gunler along the near boards to find Brindamore walking down Main Street and backhand past the left hand of Aktiama. So Rod Brindamore's son gets his second of the playoffs. He had 16 in the regular season, as he was a college champion with Quinnipiac, along with Charles Alexis Legault, as he's now trying to vie for his second professional championship, and gives the Wolves a 2-1 lead in Game 1 of the Calder Cup Final, with just over 5.5 to go in the second period. So the Marlies back on it here in the O zone as a shot came towards the goaltender Miftakov. As I'm looking at some 2000s graphics here, as a nice orange just like bar just slowly went across my screen. It just looked horrible. As shout out Channel 50 here in Chicago. It's definitely some old school looking graphics. It's not even 720p if I had to guess. But the Marlies here in the O zone keep a puck in. No, they didn't, says the linesman. And did they blow the whistle? They did as well. As there is an offsides here called. It didn't look like they were going to blow it at first, but the linesman did call it. And with 5:02 to go in the second period, we'll step aside one last time in the middle frame with the Wolves reclaiming the lead as Skylar Brindamore, second of the playoffs, has given them the advantage. Back here in Rosemont, Illinois from the Allstate Arena, where the Chicago Wolves have just taken the lead for the second time in this game, as it was Skylar Brindamore set up on a breakaway by Noel Gunler as he dashed in straight away to his backhand and beat Artur Akhtiamov to his left-handed glove side. And it's 2-1 Wolves with 5:02 to go in the second period. Face off here in neutral ice, as it'll be now taken between John Stone and what looks to be Noah Philp here on this draw, or I should say Pavlichev, I apologize, 15, not 12. For the Wolves. Pavlichev wins that draw. It's in neutral ice and slapped deep by Chicago. Off the end boards it goes. Vierling takes it, gets to it first. He'll leave it at the far circle. Wanted to drop it, but kept it himself, and now he's bodied up against the boards by Johnstone. As Johnstone kicks this puck free to himself, put it behind his own net, as now the Marlies will flip it up on the left wing to center. Jaric Rubel here with you on the Ultimate Sports Media YouTube page. Glad you're with me. Good turnout here for an AHL game, considering the World Cup's going on as well. So I thank all of you for tuning in. I don't know if some of you have just stumbled upon me. Don't know if you're from Twitter or TikTok, but thank you all for chiming into this AHL game. More listeners for this than some NHL games on this channel, so I appreciate that. As now the puck here looks like a stoppage. There is. The clock didn't go right away, but now there is. And I think a penalty's coming up here on Pavlichev as he's now being guided to the penalty box. Head coach of the Wolves, Spiros Anastas, mouth open, doesn't quite like the call, as it's going to be an interference minor coming up on Pavlichev. And now the Marlies are going to get their second power play of the game. First power play of the period for them. The Wolves had one earlier. They were unsuccessful, as Pavlichev just lit up Pizzetta here between the benches. That was the penalty. Pizzetta had already dumped that puck in, and Pavlichev just wanted to finish his check, I guess. As Pizzetta, I mean, and he's some guy who will rile up, the opposition. Pizzetta's not afraid to drop the gloves. Marley's got a lot of tough guys on this team. Pizzetta and Johnstone, to name a few. Rifai as well could throw the gloves. Throw the knuckles, I should say. As the Marlies here, a lot of Ontario and Quebec natives on the roster, a lot of tough guys. As now they begin a power play here with the face-off win to the left of Miftakov. Here's Cowan at the left point. Pass went off a Slavin skate back to center. As Josiah Slavin, brother of Jacob, big part of the Wolves PK unit, doesn't see much time on the power play, but he is a big part here, their special teams unit when shorthanded. As the Marlies now dump a puck past him into the Wolves defensive zone, around the goal it'll go. Shaw's on it, played it right out to center though, as Villanueva's not there to grab it for Toronto. So 30 seconds gone by on this penalty kill for the Wolves, as in the regular season, the Toronto power play was 3 for 11 against this Wolves team. They're 0 for 1 so far tonight, as back in they go behind the Wolf net. A centering attempt for Lettieri, shot on there, and a save made by Miftakov point blank, as holding that near post was able to get a glove stop, as Vinny Lettieri leading this Marlies team with 18 points this postseason, as 8 goals and 10 assists, has been around the block for a long time, as it's his 10th AHL season, but it's the first time he's playing here in the Calder Cup final at 31 years of age. As now a face-off here will come back to the near face-off circle down to our left into the right shoulder of the goaltender Miftakov for Chicago. It'll be Robidoux losing this draw to the Marlies as Lettieri pulled it back, and from straight away, Villanueva shot that got blocked by Cal Foot on the near side. He'll spring it ahead and clear as the Wolves get it down the ice behind the goals. Akhtiamov to play it, and in the near corner, Robidoux on the forechecks pressing here against Villanueva, as now he just killed off a couple extra seconds as 5 Marlies are down near the goal line before Cowan played it to center. Lettieri will drop it back to Cowan over the red line, and the Wolves blue he went, dropped it for Grew, didn't really stay on side as it's turned over now to Robidoux on the right side. He's over the Marley line, has bodies breaking, just tried a slap shot, save made, rebound to the goal, and a save made again by Akhtiamov, as that shot there was stopped by Akhtiamov. Nadeau on the doorstep looking for the rebound, couldn't quite find it, as now back come the Marlies on the left wing. Cowan dropped it over the line for Lettieri. Now to the far side, here's Villanueva. Marlies change a couple as now Nylander's back on. 25 seconds to go on the power play as Nylander right wing boards, goes down low with it. Pass comes right back up top to Villanueva. To the left circle, Lettieri one-timer paddled away with the stick to the left side by Miftakov. The Wolves get it, they'll clear, and there's a baker's dozen left on the power play. So down to our right in the Marlies defensive zone, Nylander behind his own net as now the final 5 seconds expire as a pass sprung ahead for Hames, couldn't quite connect. It went off the end boards, then it had to be poked to the near side by Miftakov alertly. Penalty time now up. Wolves now back to even strength as on the near side they escape to center. On the right wing, Veerling over the Marlies line, cutting his way to the slot. Fights his way near the far circle, but lost possession of the biscuit as he had to slash at it down low. Got picked back up though by Marshall Riffe for the Marlies. He'll stash a backhander ahead. Rolls over the logo. Now Cal Foot gloves it like a shortstop. Played it across to Seeley. Now got it back on the right side. Foot to the logo. It'll be tipped into the Marlies zone as the Wolves are changing behind the goal line. Benning will throw it back up the far wall. Tipped into the Wolves end by Sim now. Behind the goal, Miftakov will leave it for Nystrom in the far corner. He can't clear. Johnstone took it. He shot one off the end boards. It went, and Miftakov will grab it for a whistle, as Johnstone wasn't aware, as he's now saying that's my bad, as he thought he had a guy down low looking for a rebound, but instead it ended up becoming a stoppage in play as Miftakov grabs it for a whistle. But an ozone draw coming up here for the Marlies, who struck late in the first period after the Wolves scored a goal middle way through period 1, as Ben Danford got the game all even. We'll see if off this ozone draw here they could get an opportunity to tie this game, as the shorthanded bid just a moment ago by Robidoux and Nadeau was stopped nicely by Akhtiamov moving to his right. As now the face-off here's down to our left in the far circle to the left of Miftakov. It's going to be won by the Wolves. Valimaki in the far corner will clear it up, but not out as Thrun kept it. But now it'll be knocked out the center by Brindamore. At the logo, it'll be grabbed. Valimaki nudged it right wing for Gunler. Played it towards the goal, rolls to the far corner. Back up the boards it goes. Brindamore at the blue line, slung it back down low. Gunler grabs it, right wing corner, shielding on his backhand. Knocked free up the near wall by the Marlies, and it'll roll out to center. Pizzetta tried to one-arm it into the Wolves zone, cut back off and thrown up the near wall. But Pizzetta gets it again for the Marlies and puts it out of play as he tried to chip it into the near corner, but it went over the glass and into the seats here of the Allstate Arena in Chicago. Been there plenty of times myself. Concerts, wrestling events, hockey games. It's a great old school barn, as it's the old Rosemont Horizon, as I learned the old story of how the building had the roof claps on it long time ago before it was rebuilt, as I've seen plenty of good wrestling events in here. Beautiful home here for the WWE, as they always choose the Allstate Arena over the United Center, as despite the lower capacity, the old school vibe and the acousticness just in this building is perfect. The wrestlers all love it, and they say it's unique as how the stands feel like you're kind of on top of everybody, or they feel like, the fans are on top of you when you're playing hockey, or, you're standing in the middle of a wrestling ring. It's a very cool building, and it's a more intimate setting as well. It doesn't feel as open as many other arenas. So the Wolves win a D-zone draw. It's flung back to center. We're now in the final minute here of period number 2 as the Marlies play it back on the far wall. Now a stretch pass is in and the center gets up. They score on the pass to Pare. They connect and the Marlies do in fact tie it late in the second. So Jaric Rubel gets the goal. It's his 4th of the postseason. And it was one heck of a pass set up on the far wall by Vallis. As Villeneuve just played this puck up on the far side. And it was tipped in by, I should say, Vallis. And then it was the spinning pass that came on the far wall. It was Torberg out there that found Pare. As Torberg was out there with the 3rd line. He's normally out there with the 2nd. But he makes a nice pass from the far wall. Pare's able to finish it on top of the blue paint. And we're all leaving at 2 here in Game 1 of the Calder Cup Final. So the Marlies win the ensuing faceoff. It's back into the Wolves zone in the final 42 seconds. Chicago gets it back to neutral ice, but Bo Grew puts it back to the far corner for Toronto. Gets it on the forecheck after it first against Robidas. Puck went up the far wall, but it's taken by Nadeau, as Nadeau chipped it on the left wing over the red line. Now it's bouncing near the right side and galloped over the blue by foot. Shot it off the end boards, ricochets to the far corner. Trying to get on it's Nadeau for Chicago. Played it up to the blue line, slid this way to foot. He'll let a slap shot go that shattered his stick in the final 15, whacked back in front by Robidas, but picked up by the Marlies as Calfoot without a Q's back on defense. As right now the puck, of course, finds him. He has to soccer it in behind. He's just going to try to put it up against the boards in the final 5 seconds, and he'll do just that. The clock is now ticking, and time will expire here in period number 2. So just like period number 1, a goal halfway through by the Wolves and a goal in the final 2 minutes by the Marlies. And just like that, a 1-1 tie after 1 turns into a 2-2 tie after 2 as a breakaway goal by Skylar Brindamore set up by Noel Gunler gave the Wolves a 2-1 lead. And then Jaric Rubel in the final minute of the second period, set up nicely by Ryan Torberg on top of the paint on a turnaround pass from the right wing boards on his backhand. And Rubel was able to beat the goaltender Miftakov to the stick side to tie this game at 2 after 40 minutes tonight. Again, no stats on the Wolves when tied through 2 periods, but the Marlies this postseason when tied through 2 periods have a record of 2-1. And the third period will be coming up just after the top of the hour. So as soon as that clock strikes 10 Eastern, 9 Central, wherever you might be, it'll be time for the third period here from the Allstate Arena in Chicago, as the Wolves and Marlies are tied at 2 after 2 in Game 1 of the 2026 Calder Cup Final. So come back here in just over 15 minutes time for the third period of this Calder Cup Final game. You're listening to it live here on the Ultimate Sports Media YouTube channel with Jaric Rubel. Again, the Marlies and Wolves tied at 2 after 40 minutes tonight. Game number 1 of the Calder Cup Final is tied through 2 periods as we get set to begin the third here on the Ultimate Sports Media YouTube channel. My name is Jaric Rubel. So happy to have you all alongside with me throughout tonight's game, as we're all even at 2 through 40 minutes. The goals in this game in the first period. Bradley Nadeau, 6th of the playoffs from Suzuki, and Robidas got the Wolves on the board. Then Ben Danford got his first career playoff goal in the AHL from Letary and grew to tie it at 1. And then in the second period, Skylar Brindamore on a breakaway set up by Gunler off a Legault stretch pass made it 2-1 Wolves. Then in the final 50 seconds, Cedric Paré set up by Torberg and Vallis evened this game at 2 through 40 minutes tonight. So we'll see who comes out of game 1 victorious. Maybe it takes more than regulation time. Maybe it ends here. In these next 20 minutes, we will find out. Again, game 2 of this series will be on this YouTube page at 4 p.m. on Sunday, as it'll be a matinee game between these two clubs here at the Allstate Arena. And game 5 tomorrow between the Knicks and the Spurs will be live here on USM as well, as the NBA Finals can be won by New York tomorrow night down in San Antonio. As now we get ready here for the third period here in Rosemont. So a look here at the two goalies, both from Kazan, Russia, as both of these goalies from the same town in that massive country of Russia. It's just east of Moscow, as Artur Akhtiamov for the Marlies and Amir Miftakov here for the Chicago Wolves. We got a kid with a mullet and a Wolves jersey waving a white rally towel around as he's getting this building fired up. As the Wolves fans here, a good crowd here on a Friday night at the Allstate Arena, tuned in here for game 1 of the Calder Cup Final. As game 3 will shift over to the Coca-Cola Coliseum for game 3 on Tuesday. That'll also be on this YouTube channel at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, as now both teams have worked their way to the logo at center, and we're set to begin the third, as it'll be Justin Robidas in for this draw against Luke Hames. So Wolves going right to left in this third period. The Leafs, or I should say the Marlies, going left to right, as when tied after the second period, 2-2 are the Wolves thanks to the telecast, and the Marlies, as I mentioned, 2-1. So third period underway, puck between the benches, that Suzuki backhands into the Marlies zone. It goes out of play, so immediately, 17 seconds into the period, we get ourselves a stoppage. In that second period as well, the shots were 8-6 in favor of the Marlies. Each team came up empty-handed on the power play as well, as it was a fairly similar script to the first period. The Wolves scored 11.5 into the first period. The Marlies tied it with 2:15 left. And then 14 minutes into the second, the Wolves scored, and then the Marlies tied it again in the final 50 seconds. So face-off at the logo, Robidas is able to win it against Hames for Chicago, as Valimaki on the left side played it up off Nadeau's stick. It deflects back near the Wolves' blue line, so they'll try again. As now on the left side, it'll be Valimaki dropping it off for Fensori. Fensori knifing his way through center, gliding into the Marlies zone, got stymied in the slot as he was battled to the near boards by Benning, as the Marlies get the puck back out, as these jerseys look just like the Maple Leafs, and after 2 periods of clean Marley wording, I have now said Leafs twice here in this third period. I knew it was going to happen at some point during the broadcast, and of course it happens right now. But we could all laugh at ourselves. We could all laugh a little bit, as now Valimaki for the Wolves, moving right to left, played it between the benches. It's tipped into the Marlies zone. Behind it goes to the left corner. Skylar Brindamore behind the goal for Slavin. Slavin out of the right wing circle, trying to tuck one short side, and a save made. Akhtiamov might have hit Murmis in front as it deflects up the near side and back to center. Wolves recoil. Slavin's back at it in his own zone as he goes across. Legault will move it up ahead. Between the benches, it'll be Brindamore trying to poke it over the Marley line. Taken back now by Toronto, as around the goal it'll be sent by the Wolves, or I should say the Marlies, and thrown back down to the Wolves' end, as now Miftakov takes a look and put it up the near boards. Leteri's trying to clear. He will, as it bounces now the other way. So the Wolves collecting over the Marley line, drawing a penalty here is a Marley call, as I can't tell the numbers on the arms here. As Colin said, the graphics are terrible. I'm telling you, I'm broadcasting this game in like 480p, as I could not tell you who drew that penalty for the Wolves, but I can tell you that a penalty's coming up for a hold, as now going to the penalty box for the Toronto Marlies will be, we'll get a number here in a second. It looks to be Paré, as he drew a hold here as the Wolves entered the zone. So the guy who tied this game at 2 will now sit for 2 minutes in the penalty box, Cedric Paré, and the Wolves will go to the power play, as now we'll settle in here to period number 3. So third early power play in a period for the Wolves. They're 0 for 2 from 4 shots in the first 2 periods. Face off here, one to the left of Akhtiamov, and it'll be battled for on the far wing, and Suzuki sends it down low for Robidas. Robidas out of the left wing corner, going up high with it to Nadeau. Nadeau looking, goes across now to Valimaki. Valimaki to Robidas, far right wing, now in the far corner. Here's now Suzuki looking, pivoting on his backhand. In that pie slice, left it in the far corner, got a return pass in the left side. Goes up top for Valimaki, straight away to the right circle, he sends it. Now Philp looking with a shot, save made right on by Akhtiamov, as he will hold as he traps it between his right armpit and his blocker. So a face-off coming up here to his left. Wolves continuing on the power play as we're past the first few minutes here in period number 3. Both these teams tied at 2 as we're trying to determine who wins game 1 here in this Calder Cup final, the first AHL broadcast on the USM page. As a minute 29 remains on this Wolf power play to the left of Akhtiamov is the face-off in the far circle to our left. As off the tie-up, Robidas nudges it back. Here's Nadeau straight away, looking, shooting, save Akhtiamov, rebound, trickling on top of the paint. It's loose, came to the near circle. Suzuki, stick handling, dropped it off Valimaki straight away to Suzuki left circle. Suzuki drifting, back to Valimaki straight away. Final 72 of the power play to the right circle. It's played back now to Suzuki at the right point, sent across now to Valimaki. Left circle. One timer put on by Nadeau, saved Akhtiamov, rebound up the far wall, goes out to center as Valimaki has to reset in the final minute of the power play. Here comes Robidas again, drifting far wing into the Marlies zone. Kitty cornered one to the left corner. After it is Nadeau, but on it first was Mermis for the Marlies. He can't clear. Now Philp back with it, cutting through the trapezoid to the left wing corner down to our left. Thrun though takes it away for the Marlies. Up the wall it goes. Johnstone will clear. And the Wolves have to touch up. Under 36 seconds to go on this power play. As Nadeau left wings back in, chipped it straight away. Suzuki drifts it far circle. Here's Robidas, shot that went over the crossbar. Came back to the left side for Suzuki. Now gets a return pass again, doesn't it? Ryan Suzuki to the left circle. Here's Bradley Nadeau down low. Here he can't find Robidas. Puck does come though to the Leafs Thrun as he will clear it right into the benches here. So we get another stoppage in play. And this one will end up putting the faceoff still inside the Leaf zone, or the Marley zone. I apologize. All of a sudden, I was good about it all night. Now I'm just seeing this jersey and thinking the Leafs. But it will be a defensive zone draw for the Marlies, as Henry Thrun put it in his own bench. So the faceoff stays down to our left, as all of a sudden this has turned into a Maple Leafs game and not a Marlies game. But now the faceoff here in the final 15 of this Wolf power play will be to the left here of the Marley goal. And Brindamore will take this draw. And off a long pause by the linesman. It looks like we're going to have to do this face-off all over again. So Brindamore appears to be getting tossed, and having to step in now will be Evan Vierling. It's his first season as a Wolf. Celebrates a birthday next Saturday, as he will turn 24 years of age. Loses this face-off here, though, to Bo Grew and the Marlies, as now Toronto flips it back into the Wolf zone. This will end up not being an icing as we play on it. Fensori got taken down hard into the end boards. We play on as Grew has it in the left corner of the Wolves zone, but knocked it away. Did the Wolves, and Vierling's with it up the right wing over the red and the blue. Into the Marley zone he goes. Lost it in the far corner as it's knocked free and thrown around the near side. Out the center it'll roll. The Wolves have to chase back with 4 minutes played here in period number 3. Shots are 22 to 19 in favor of the Wolves as they hammer a puck back into the Toronto zone. In the left wing corner, Matt Benning here. Pried up against the boards by Ryabkin. Puck now trying to come free to Neuchev. Can't find it. As back are the Marlies on the left side, stashing one ahead. Puck, though, deflected off of Philp. Turned it over on the far side. Wolves back on it. Noah Philp, the ex-Oiler. Dropped it at the right circle. Neuchev this way for foot. A shot at a left pad save made there by Akhtiamov as it deflects out of play and into the meshing. So a great chance there by Cal Foot, set up by Neuchev from that far circle. Neuchev just quickly snapped it to the left circle, and Foot looked to pick his spot. And it looked like that might have grazed the post as well, as we get a better look. And it did. It hit the crossbar, not Akhtiamov, as the 480p doesn't do me all the justice in the world in the live action, as we need some HD, a good HD AHL broadcast here, but though that shot by Foot was a good one. He grazed the goalpost. Now face off back to Akhtiamov's right, as it'll be now Johnstone to take this draw for Toronto against Pavlichev for the Wolves. Pavlichev won it clean to the back it goes. Veerling, a turnaround shot and a stick save made in a butterfly position by Akhtiamov. Rebound to the far corner, thrown around the goal to Mermis on the near side. He banked it off the glass. It gets out in front of the penalty boxes off of Pizzetta. Wolves will grab it and wire it back in. Behind the Marley goal, it'll be grabbed again by Mermis, thrown up the near side, put up in front of the penalty boxes where it'll be Johnstone taking a hit, couldn't keep possession. And the Wolves throw it back down to our left. No icing as Veerling will nullify the call against Mermis. Puck free in the near corner of the Marley zone. Up the wall it'll go, and it'll get to center. As now here comes Landon Sim up the near side trying to shake free in the Wolves zone. Puck dropped to Johnstone, who fluttered it to the far corner. Pizzetta on it on the far left wing. Had it go up to the blue line, slid this way to Benning. Long wrist shot blocked in front of the near side and just wide as Akhtiamov got hit and lost his goal stick. Meanwhile, he's back in his paint. He wants a penalty as he goes palms up. The Wolves get a puck to center, and Veerling will get it down deep, and the Wolves will change. And getting his goal stick back will be Miftikov. So the Marlies back in their own zone with 14:30 to go in the third. Put it back up the right wing, but the Wolves will take that pass right back as Roboda glides through center into the Marlies zone. Left wing over the line at Suzuki. Threw it back in front. Deflected off a stick to Cowan on the far wall. The Marlies on the counterattack. Soccered it to a stick as Cowan over the red line. Now the Wolf blue, and he'll be whistled for it offsides as in ahead of the play was Ryan Torberg with 14:19 to go in the third period. So a look here at this recent try on the shot by Benning. It got deflected in front. I'm not sure what it hit on the initial replay, but it trickled back to the near side on the glove hand of the goaltender, Miftikov, and it looked like it went off the elbow of Legault, the Wolf defenseman. And then scrambling for it was Miftikov. He got ran into, stick knocked out of his hand, wanted a penalty, but did not get one. So face-off back here in neutral ice with 14:19 to go in the third period, as it'll be Gunler out here to take this draw for the Wolves, as he'll be opposed by Hames for the Marlies. We'll get a long pause here by the linesman before dropping this puck as he has a chat with each skater. As now we'll still wait it out. And after the third try to drop it, it's pulled back by Hames into the Marley zone. It's gonna go though, as I gotta stop doing that. As I'll take the power play graphic off the screen as well. Forgot that was still up, but now an icing here on the Marlies as they just threw it down the ice as they're just throwing it around here at the moment in this third period. So a face-off comes back down into the defensive zone for the Marlies, as the Wolves will have an opportunity here with an O-zone draw to try and take the lead. So again, thanks to all of you for chiming in here to an AHL Calder Cup broadcast. The first time on the channel we've had it, as there's other stuff going on as well. There's World Cup action going on. There's Major League Baseball going on. There's other things you could be tuned into. But I very much thank you for tuning in with me here for some American Hockey League action. If you're able to comment, let me know where you're tuning in from. If you're tuning in from the Chicago area, the Toronto area, or perhaps you're just a hockey fan, let me know in the chat. I'd be happy to discuss things amongst you all. As a face-off here down to our left to the right of Akhtiamov's, won by the Wolves to the left point. Seeley tries a shot that stick to the near corner by Akhtiamov. 14 minutes left in this third period, tied at 2. Left wing corner, Slavin tries to grab it for the Wolves, one arm